Hello and welcome back to the MPGL Season 7 here on HeflaTV 2. This is going to be a best of one series between United We Stand and Sig.Trust. As far as these teams are concerned, Sig.Trust coming in as the vast favorites. I'm GrandisV and I'll be joined by Blakadder. Do you think United We Stand have it in them to take an upset?
It's within all realms of possibility, but I'm a betting man myself, and I'm going to have to say Sig.Trust will be where I'm putting my money, and I'll say that before I even see the draft.
Yeah, for sure. Just as far as raw skill level is concerned, I'd say that they're the favorite team, but this is best of one, and on this patch I don't think I've seen United We Stand, so maybe they can pull something out of their sleeves, and maybe they can pull off a really impressive game, and I for one am hoping for that. We'll have to see how they start off this draft. As far as the bans are concerned, pretty standard fare with IO, Beastmaster, Earthshaker, and Undying taken out in the first stage.
Yeah, no surprises here, and while we are still within the first small round of time of 6.84, there's a lot of room for experimentation here, and well, I'm pretty sure everyone has played a good few games. I know me and Grandis have, and well, there is many an option here for shenanigans.
For sure. As far as the standard picks that are really popular right now, Queen of Pain, Gyrocopter available for United We Stand, and also that Lina, which is a very respectable hero in her own right, a very flexible one, and honestly, I don't think the nerfs inside the most recent patch really hurt Lina all that much in either mid or support roles. She's still a very solid hero.
Yeah, all around. I mean, they didn't really punish her casting times, didn't really punish her attack speed. She can right-click very nicely. Mid lane, control is there. It's all well and good for Alina in this patch so far. I mean, there are a few heroes that I could think that may have got a slight overuse of the nerf bat, but all in all, I think this patch was pretty much well-rounded. And now we go into a Vengeful Spirit Drow Ranger, so we're looking for an aura stack game here.
This is very scary coming out from Sig.Trust. It's a strategy that they're very comfortable with running, and they have the potential to end this game at a very early timing window. Although Lina can burst down a Drow Ranger very quickly with her magical burst, if she gets the Yule Scepter off at a decent timing, Drow Ranger can equally burst down the Lina just with the raw amount of physical DPS that's going to be coming out, combined with the Vengeance Aura coming out from your Vengeful Spirit as well as the minus armor. Sig.Trust are already building almost the dream Drow Ranger lineup. You add a Visage in there, maybe a Viper and a Bat Rider, and you pretty much have the full five.
I mean, you could also go for a Luna if you really wanted to, but then where would you put the Drow? Just any kinds of auras really amplify this kind of thing. The problem is that the Drow Ranger and the Venge are a little bit squishy, and I think that's where United We Stand may go with this. I mean, now we get the Zeus. Again, a hero that was very popular before, not overly nerfed. This could be a very nuke-heavy game, brawl-heavy as well.
Very sure. Let's see. Sig.Trust, a hero that I'd love to see them consider for their lineup now would be a Pugna. It would synergize pretty nicely with the early push coming out from the Drow Ranger, but Netherward value would be immense. Also, Nyx Assassin wouldn't be terrible. I think these heroes would be really good at punishing these very nuke-heavy heroes from United We Stand.
I think some form of mana warfare may certainly be the kind of route you'd go. I mean, you mentioned Nyx, good for burning mana, yeah. Also really good against these squishy in heroes, but I wouldn't mind seeing something along the lines of an OD equally. I mean, OD, he can come in, he can punish the low attack range of a Zeus, should it be Zeus mid, I doubt it will be. He can do a good amount in terms of reducing their mana pools with the insta-steal, and to be fair, well, it's OD. I love OD. Who doesn't love OD?
Me. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd like him this game. It would probably be a game where he's forced into building BKB very early on, but is something to keep in mind for United We Stand. Definitely could be punishable. Let's see. Visage and Centaur are going to be the two bans, respectively, from either side. Sig.Trust trying to make sure that they can keep Drow Ranger at a safe distance from these nuking heroes.
That's going to be the main thing they're going to have to do this game. They're just going to have to control the Rangers, and they can do that with some more stuns, maybe a bigger teamfight ultimate. Many an option here. I like the fact that they removed the Centaur. Not only is Centaur can he get in the Drow's face really quickly, especially if he gets that early blink, the Ags on him I've seen a few times now, and it really just is a let's shield wall, run in, do our job. It's just such a nasty thing that they added in this patch.
Especially when you're fighting around the Roshan pit, and I'd expect Sig.Trust would want to take a Rosh when you're contesting against that. It's so very hard. Usually Roshan's a very walled-off area, but for one of those teams, it's not going to be whenever you have the Stampede. Broodmother also going to be banned up by Sig.Trust. A reasonable ban, even though Venge and Dro put out a lot of damage by themselves. They don't have very good wave clear for the spiders, so I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, not only that, they may be looking to target some more single target, and ooh, this looks like we certainly are. We get a Clockwork, again, good at controlling ranges, Cogs to control a zone in the team fight. I mean, Cogs is an 8-second territorial disruption spell. That's pretty damn strong.
For sure, and also is going to somewhat abuse the fact that United We Stand are a bit on the squishy side. Usually Clockwork's damage scales off throughout the game, but up against Alina and a Zeus, Battery Assault's going to remain relevant for a large portion of it, especially if he gets his hands onto a Blade Mail. I like the Clockwork pick, even though he's not going to benefit from the Draw Ranger's aura. He is just going to make that wall, as you said, and keep her at a safe distance, although indirectly.
I do agree on the Blade Mail, but another item that when you look at Alina and Zeus, you've got to mention is the Lotus Orb. Again, a very good pickup for the Clockwork, gives him some armor, some regen, and everything on this lineup so far for We Stand is single target, so both are viable options here.
Yeah, for sure, and well, United We Stand would like to pick up some sort of reliable disable, and there's going to be your Lion for United We Stand, yet another squishy hero that is going to fall prey to the Clockwork if isolated by himself, but the amount of nuke damage coming up from United We Stand is pretty much top-notch. Lina, Zeus, and Lion, if you pick 3 heroes as far as magical damage is concerned, I'm not sure if you can get much more.
Technically you could, but I would say that you couldn't get more single target nuke damage.
Yes.
I mean, Finger of Death, Lacuna, Lightning Bolts. This is going to be a lot of fighting. And if United We Stand don't fight and keep the Drow down, Sig.Trust will just walk away with this one.
For sure. Blink Dagger is going to be pretty crucial for United We Stand to be able to get in range of the Drow Ranger. No matter how much magical nuke damage they have, if they can't get on top of the Drow and end up just getting silenced out and focused, it doesn't really matter. A Blink Dagger on the Lion would be wonderful, although I'm not sure if they can make enough space for it. We'll just have to wait and see. There is also a decent amount of lane flexibility coming out from United We Stand. Lina and Zeus can both be thrown into the support role if the situation requires it. So at the moment, we have no idea how these lanes actually shake down.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, and as you know I am, I'm going to say it's going to be a Lina mid support Zeus Lion. I mean, that seems to be the most logical way to run this. I mean, then you're looking for... what kind of carry you're looking for in this case? I would have said an anti-mage, but I'm not certain on that anymore. The only reason I say anti-mage is because he can quickly get up in the face of the Drow and disable the marksman aura.
Yeah, I would be a little bit more partial towards something like a Slark. It would function in a similar fashion, I suppose, just giving you that initiation onto the Drow Ranger to disable that aura away from her. But it also fights a little bit harder inside the mid-game, which is the timing window that Sig.Trust are going to be hitting harder.
Yeah, I can completely agree to that one. I've got my hesitances about an anti-mage, especially when you've got so much physical damage being put up against it. But they're looking for something that can at least disable the marksman aura. But now we do get the Phoenix for Sig.Trust, and this is starting to look quite scary for them.
For sure, at the moment their AoE control inside the fights with the Clockwork Cogs and Supernova is pretty immense. And also a lot of those physical carries that United We Stand will be considering are shut down pretty heavily by the Fire Spirits. Maybe Slark to a lesser extent, but even Slark is going to be pretty annoyed by Phoenix in general. They do have the Hex to maybe cancel out Icarus Dive and potentially punish him out inside the lane. It's actually going to be a Juggernaut for United We Stand. Generally, you don't see Blink Dagger as an early item for Jug, but I think this game more than most, it would be a good pickup.
I could certainly see a Blink Jug build in this case. Deal with the Drow Ranger. That is option one that you have to deal with. If you don't focus on Sig.Trust's Drow Ranger, this game will be pretty much over. And Jug can do that, but he's going to need a good amount of early farm, maybe a good few early rotations from the Lion and the Zeus.
For sure, but they do have a lot of damage inside the laning stage, and I think he can fairly effectively punish the Phoenix. At the moment, we're going to be looking for an offlaner, presumably, for the United We Stand's 5th, and they'll have Axe banned out from them. At the moment, the offlane pool is looking very thin indeed, with Beastmaster, Batrider, Centaur, Axe, and Broodmother all taken away from them. What's actually left, especially considering Clockwork's picked up by Sig.Trust themselves?
I wouldn't be averse to a bounty hunter this game. I mean, it'll help them get some more gold from their ganks, can sneak around, deal with the Venge, deal with the Drow. As long as you can play around detection, a bounty would not be a bad thing.
I'm a little bit hesitant about the bounty, as that would put a lot of pressure on United We Stand supports to set up kills, or the Lina to get a very fast Eul Scepter blink, but if it works, it would be absolutely explosive for their team, all things considered. I, for one, would love to see a Darkseer, even though the range inside Sig.Trust Tri-Lane is pretty high. Getting a vacuum back into an Impale LSA could be pretty sick. Sig.Trust damage, however, is through the roof now that they pick up the SF.
Yes, that is a hell of a lot of physical damage. That before you even count the razors and the magic missile, this is going to be a very bursty upfront combo from Sig.Trust. And while I do agree with you on the fact that bounty would be a risky thing, it's a gamble, and it's one of those gambles that mathematically pays off the majority of the time because all it takes is one or two track kills, and you're suddenly back in if you're behind.
It would be a precarious game for United We Stand. They need to play a more precision game than Sig.Trust if they were going to pull that off. But I would love to see it. I'm definitely not averse to seeing a bounty. Let's see what United We Stand end up settling on. They only have 10 seconds left to consider this fifth pick.
There are a few other outside options. Considering that amount of magical damage, I wouldn't equally be averse to an Elder Titan. But it will be a Magnus in this case, so they're going to have that teamfight ultimate combo that could actually win them the game quite handily, thinking about it.
Yeah, with the Magnus RP into all of the damage from the rest of her heroes, it could be absolutely crazy. And the Empower under the Juggernaut's also a very threatening tool at their disposal. And, well, I think he fits the bill nicely. Although inside the laning stage, he's not going to have the greatest time. Even solo against the Drow, that's a pretty difficult lane for Magnus. It could pay off. At the moment, I think I'm favoring United We Stand's lineup just a little bit more. It seems to be a tad bit more reliable, but if Sig.Trust win a couple of good fights, their tower damage and hero damage both is absolutely immense. I think this is fairly even.
I would mostly agree with you. I'm going to say, however, it's going to come down quite a bit to the last hits in the lane, specifically on the Shadow Fiend. If the Shadow Fiend can stack up maximum souls in a reasonably short amount of time, that'll assume he'll equally have some good farm. I would put my money straight on to Sig.Trust based on that Shadow Fiend, Drow, and Vengeful combo on its own. The damage between those auras is going to be nuts.
It is also worth noting that this is a very comfort zone lineup for Sig.Trust. Lakelz is very adept on his Drow Ranger, and to introduce the rest of their lineup, they're going to have Boombell playing on the Vengeful Spirit Phoenix, handled by Jab. Mid lane, Shadow Fiend is going to be My Pro, and offlane Clockwork, handled by Double A, Double B, Double A.
And of course, on that universal flip side of the coin, for United We Stand, we've got Lifeless handling that Magnus in the middle lane. Then over towards the bot lane, we've got Didera on the Zeus. We've got Matson on the Juggernaut. And then bringing up the rear, we've got WJ on the Lion. And finally, on the Lina, who I will point out bought quite a few wards and smoke. This isn't a mid Lina, is JX. Now, this does change the lanes up considerably.
Yeah, the Zeus is going to be heading mid. 2 pull tangos, 2 sticks, and a clarity. It's actually very interesting to see the Lina being pretty much sacrificed by the United We Stand side, buying smokes, double wards, buying both the obs as well as the sense and the courier, allowing the Lion to get boots first, also only sitting on 1 tango after distributing the rest of them between the Zeus and the Lina. They're going to go down towards bottom as a pretty aggressive clump, and maybe they can catch out Lakelz.
If they can, it will be the start that they need. And of course, the way this does change the lanes, we've got Lina Lion support combo, which is scary outright. We've got Matson most likely going to be on that safe lane when he rotates up. We've got Didera on the most likely mid lane or off lane. And then, of course, Magnus taking mid lane or off lane, depending on which is left.
They're going to look through the trees. They eat through 2 of them, get the Earth Spike onto Lakelz. Where's the fall? Blight Strike Array is there, and Lakelz is going to end up going down as Didira is going to pick up that and also have enough gold for his bottle immediately out of the gate after that first kill. That is the big start for United We Stand. A pretty cheeky move to eat through those trees, but with the vision offered by this Observer Ward, they're able to do so very comfortably. They'll also get the bounty run for the Zeus. This is a huge start for a mid-Zeus. 125 experience already, bottle, and already 200 gold on top of that all.
Indeed, it's going to be a straight shot towards his arcanes, I should imagine, and then just looking for some control and damage. Aghanim's not a bad option. Refresher again, the fun combo, I like to think of it. But other options, you've got Force Staff, Ewel's, the mobility, the movement. It's pretty much served on a silver platter for Didera.
Yeah, for the most part. Since he did go for that first blood with the rest of his team, he did sacrifice his block, so Shadow Fiend's going to be doing just fine. An aggressive tri-lane coming out from United We Stand is they'll leave the Magnus solo versus the block. This is pretty reasonable, and most of the action should be isolated in the bottom lane. However, I'm tempted to say that this might be a bad move for United We Stand unless they can keep up the pressure onto Lakelz. If not, it's going to be sacrificing a lot of Juggernaut's farm. Looks like another back off and smoke coming out from Lina as well as Linus. They're going to bump into the Phoenix.
If they can kill the Phoenix, this will be perfect. The Earth Spike to start. Light Strike Array does land. They're doing all of the damage they need to do, but can they finish off this Phoenix? No, they can't. The Icarus Dive came up just in time, and he does get out to safety.
Yeah, without having that secondary disable, they really needed a Hex in order to pull off that kill. But still, it's going to force out Phoenix's regeneration, and honestly doesn't cost them much. It's up towards top. Magnus is isolated by the Clockwork solo with only level 1 on the mag. He ends up going down. That's huge for the Clockwork. Already level 3, and this lane does not get any easier for the Magnus. With so many creeps not dying inside the top lane lifeless, even though he was left 1v1, did not have the skewer available to him. That's going to cost him his life. Down towards bottom, Light Strike Array catches out too with the follow-up of the Earth Spike as well as the spin onto the Portero Ranger. That's going to be yet another kill for United We Stand's tri-lane.
If they can keep stacking up these kills, that'll be absolutely perfect. And it's honestly what they need to do. They need to keep their Drow down. Of course, mentioning that little skirmish up at the top lane, this Clockwork could be a very big problem in the foreseeable future. And the Kels is actually going to swap lane right now. Drow comes up to the top. Maybe see a rotation down from AAA, BAA down to the bottom lane? We're going to have to come up with an easier thing to say than that, Grandis.
Clockwork.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. You made your point.
Yeah,
Clockwork's most likely going to rotate down and they're going to switch their lanes up.
Yeah, for the most part. This is going to be a lot better for Lakel's. Already dying twice, they needed to shake something up. The status quo is just not working out for their team. But mid lane is going reasonably well for Sig.Trust. Both of these mid laners are trading pretty much blow for blow. Even though the Zeus had a really good start, he can't stop the Shadow Fiend from farming, which is such a terrible attack animation. Rotation up towards top coming out from the Lina as this full lane swap is going to be pursued. The smoke from Vengeful Spirit and Phoenix might catch out a poor Lina off guard, although the Light Strike Array does connect them to both of them. They have a skewer at the ready. It looks like they're going to lose Lina first, cut out by both the Venge as well as the Phoenix. She's going to end up going down, Drow Ranger even getting the last hit.
That's what they needed to do, in all honesty, and I doubt a skewer would have saved her life at that point. It's the downside when you get caught by a smoke, but there's very little that they can do in response to that kind of thing.
Yeah, in the end, there's just not much that you can do when you're stuck inside that situation, not expecting both of the supports to be up with the Drows so very quickly. They bring in the Lion as well as reinforcement in the top lane as they leave Juggernaut solo versus the Clock. This is a reasonable switch coming out for United We Stand. Leaving Juggernaut 1v1 versus the Clockwork is fine. Usually, Clockwork shouldn't be able to get that kill, especially whenever Spin is at the ready. So as long as he conserves his mana and cooldown, it should be fine.
The problem with conserving your mana when you get cogs draining you, that's quite the rough little exchange.
Yeah, no Mango or Clarity on the Juggernaut, so he isn't going to have the safety net of Spin, so maybe he'll need some support down here after all. It is actually just going to be a full lane swap. They bring the Magnus down here, and now Juggernaut's going to walk back to base and then probably get a TP up towards top.
Well, if they TP towards top, that'll work out, but I'm wondering what we're going to see out of Zeus soon, considering we're getting near level 6. Thunder Gods is nearly online, and once we have that, it takes a lot off these lanes and what they need to provide to get the kills. Yeah, and when we look at this mid lane skirmish, it's 22 for 0 versus 19 and 6. It's close.
Yeah, it is very close, and that extra pressure relieved is going to be pretty huge. More musical lanes coming out as Lakel's goes down towards bottom. They're just playing keep away as much as they can with this Drow Ranger, not wanting to have any pressure applied. And I suppose it's working out. She's managed to find herself level 4 and a little bit of farm here and there. In fact, is the second highest CS in the game, tied with the Zeus.
Well, now we've got that DD in the mid lane with MyPro and the Clockwork rotating in. Zera going to be in a lot of trouble. Thunder Gods does get dropped. Can he get the kill under the tower? For his life, he does. But of course, this does mean Shadow Fiend does get that experience. Now you've got Matson trying to go toe-to-toe with the Clockwork. Not going to be able to do so because of the battery assault, and everyone's going to disengage for now. Take a breather.
That's honestly probably worth it for the Zeus. It's going to drain Shadow Fiend's soul resources, and even though he gets a favorable experience trade, it's still pretty much neck and neck with the Zeus in that regard too. United We Stand make something out of nothing just with the raw burst damage that comes out from a Zeus. With 3 points up in the Bolt and the Thunder God's Wrath, Shadow Fiend himself can't stand up next to that. Shadow Fiend going to bottle up the Vengeful Spirit as he comes in straight from the well, but now it's a long road to recovering those extra soul stacks for the Nectar Mastery so you can get that damage online. The line's sticking around. If they can get an Earth Spike to connect, it's probably a dead SF.
Any kill on Shadow Fiend right now would absolutely be crippling. And all it'll take is, of course, one stun from either of the supports. You've got enough damage coming through from the Zeus now. He's going to have that 4th point up in Lightning Bolt very soon. The damage is starting to get very scary for United We Stand, and all it takes is one little bit of CC.
Magnus is back up to the top lane with the Lina as these lanes have been incredibly fluid. Lakel's continuously farming up down towards bottom, as it looks like things are going to start settling down, at least for the time being, until we get the clockwork active again. He's getting very close to getting his level 6, and once he has that hookshot, that could be some pretty easy kills across the map.
Well, if we can get some hookshot kills, that's exactly what Sig.Trust will want. But now, thing with the clockwork here, if we look at him, he's going to be in a situation of what item does he build after he's got his boots upgraded? And what would you go for in this situation, Grandis?
For the clockwork, I think Blade Mail, pretty much, just because I like the item and I think this game more than most, it's a really good pickup. Although Lotus Orb would be really nice to get your hands onto, I'm not sure if you could get enough immediate value from it. Clockwork is a hero, farms hero kills, and outside of that, really just doesn't get very much income. There's an Earth Spike in mid, going to connect onto the clock, but Lion by himself can't get the kill, and even with the Lina, it's a bit of a stretch.
Well, Finger of Death, nowhere near that. If we had the Finger of Death, the Clockwork easily could, but it's level 3 Clockwork who is suffering quite a bit of mana deficit as well whenever the Clockwork decides to go and throw those cogs around.
Alrighty then, Zeus and Lina inside the enemy woods might be bumping into an SF shortly, as both of them are just farming side by side. Neither one none the wiser of the whereabouts of the enemy team. Yep, there will be a stack per either side, and now Shadow Fiend pops his haste. He's completely caught back up. Looks like this game around it's going to be your mechanism build for your Shadow Fiend. Phoenix going to be dropping low up in top. Jab is playing a dangerous game, but with Tranquil Boots it looks like he's going to survive just fine.
Oh, with the Tranquil Boots, yeah, he should be, and he's getting that experience that he needs. As soon as he gets that Supernova, it will be all good, however. But what kind of build would you expect out of the Phoenix in this game, considering we already have the Shadow Fiend?
Surviving on 30 HP after one raise connects. Mypro almost getting that with the Haste Rune. Very unfortunate. Nicely timed Earth Spike coming out from the Lion to save his life.
Quite a nice little bit of survival, but yeah, what would you go for on the Phoenix, considering we already have that mechanism coming up on that Shadow Fiend?
As usual, I think Midas is probably the normal choice, just to get your levels up as fast as possible. Although it would be very late, I still think it's worthwhile. Outside of that, you wouldn't get enough income. If not for the Midas, maybe a Force Staff. Battery Assault going to isolate the Lina. She gets a Light Strike. A Ray Off. Can they kill off the clock? And with the Omni Slash, it looks like they can. Even with the hookshot being from point-blank range, the Lina survives with a little bit of help from the Healing Ward. Now bringing in the Zeus, as well as an Invis Shadow Fiend from the sidelines. They'll catch vision of the SF, and that will allow them to disengage pretty cleanly.
Good game sense and map awareness there of Didera to just throw that lightning bolt just in case the Shadow Fiend was lurking around. Just saved the life of the Lina, in all honesty there. And from my perspective, I'm wondering where we're going to see the first big skirmish over a tower, since we're seeing a lot of poking and prodding within these lanes, but no dedicated push to come off the back of one of these fights.
Yeah, although Draw Ranger does have level 7 and has committed 3 points in the aura and can do a decent chunk of tower damage herself, outside of that, they just haven't been able to get up to the front door of United We Stand. Tier 1 tower in mid lane is dropping pretty low, but that's about it. The rest of the lanes have pretty much maintained stasis. Yeah, it is going to take a little bit more kills going the way of Sig.Trust before they can put that together. I think it's going to be off the back of the next hookshot kill. If they can pull this off in mid and kill off like the Zeus and Lina, Tier 1 tower should fall soon after.
The problem with committing and killing the Zeus right now is because of the Shadow Fiend raises, they're always pushed up next to the Zeus's tower. So you can't really hookshot in there reliably, or can you? Yes, you can. Clockwork hooks in with that battery, so it will be more than enough. You may be right, I might be eating my words, Grandis, but now comes the response. Requiem to drop. Magnus trying to get in, skewer forward, looking for Mypro, does get stunned out immediately by Boombell. RP onto Mypro. Can they finish him off? I'm not sure they can. Light Strike isn't there. They've got a Dragon Slave, but that's it. Now everyone's going to have to back off. They can't really continue. 1 for 1. Zeus for a Clockwork, slightly in favor of Sig.Trust.
It was also a huge reaction coming out from United We Stand. They pull in their entire team towards that mid lane. Even the Juggernaut joins the fray. It was a pretty sketchy engagement from either side. There were times where it looked like it could have fallen for either team, and honestly, I'm surprised it was only a 1-for-1 trade. That was a really good hookshot to start things off, just finding the little angle between the creeps. Clockwork was able to thread the needle onto the Zeus. But after all is said and done, the tower still stands because of the reaction coming out from United We Stand. So honestly, I don't think that really changes much of anything. The big advantage that Sig.Trust got up there is that Lekels has been able to farm up in the meantime inside the woods.
And Lekels, while he's farming, what's he building towards? He's got his Mask of Madness. We're looking most likely for the Yasha next. Yeah, Yasha next, looking at this. And from that, it's all well and good in terms of his damage. Yasha into Manta, maybe a BKB considering, but it's all starting to add up in terms of aura damage as well for Bumbo and the rest of the Sig.Trust side.
Next item they want is actually an Aegis the Immortal. It's going to be scouted out by a Zeus Ultimate because they got Vision of the Smoke coming out from this Dire Observer ward placed. But Roshan is falling very quickly with the Maya's Armor from Presence of the Dark Lord as well as Wave. They might be able to take it before a fight actually breaks out. Up towards the north, they'll catch it. Skewer back onto the clock, but he has a hook shot and everybody's dropping pretty low. They'll get the Aegis for the Shadow Fiend as up on the high ground the Supernova is going to go off. They've already lost their Juggernaut. Lina very low turns for another Dragon Slave but dies to one auto attack of the Dro. Bolt 1 is going to get the Aegis off of the Shadow Fiend, but Lakel still survives what they wouldn't pay for another Zeus ulti right about now. United We Stand are going to end up trading 1 for 3 plus the Aegis of the SF, but since Sig.Trust did get the Roshan kill, it's a pretty big golden experience swing in their favor.
I gotta say, that was quite the messy fight coming out of United We Stand. They did catch a pretty damn good Ion Strike in the pit on the support, but they couldn't just follow it up. They had no vision within the pit, which was one of the bigger problems, and they really needed to commit as 5. They got dragged out across a larger area than they would want to.
And now Tier 1 tower in mid lane going to be dropping very quickly. Mech pop by MyPro to extend the creep waves livelihood, and he'll get the last hit on the tower too. Already up to a decent chunk of gold after the fact. Now a double damage rune going to spawn top for him. Sig.Trust, even though they don't have the Aegis, could probably feasibly look for Tier 1 tower pushes as long as they have the mech up for the SF. They can very easily do so, even without Lakel's. As long as he's there offering the aura, the extra 38 damage at this point is probably enough for him to be there in spirit globally.
Well, that kind of extra damage, that's all they really need from him. What more do you want? I mean, the extra 38 damage, what else can you really contribute other than that? You're on about the magic missile from the Vengeful Spirit, yeah, as well, right?
Oh, not really. Just at the moment, they're going to take a Tier 1 tower up towards top. MyPro, with that Precision Aura, Vengeance Aura, as well as the double damage rune, is hitting for 276 in range. Usually this damage isn't seen from anything but a DD Tiny at this point, but at the moment, MyPro is trucking. And for the next couple of seconds, I would suggest that United We Stand not pick a fight.
Yeah, you'd think. That kind of double damage is really nasty on MyPro. And it's not what you would expect when you go for this kind of mech build as well. You don't expect this high level of physical right-click, but this really does work for the Shadow Fiend, even though it is unusual. It got seen a lot in 6.83, and it seems to just flow. Then again, whenever you get your mech on a mid laner, like a Necrolite or a Viper previously, it would let the supports have a lot more flexibility, and that kind of flexibility would often paid off in terms of the mid game. But now, here comes the defense. All the TPs coming in. Jap does have that Supernova ready to go, but you know, We Stand are just going to have to back off in this case.
They're TPing mid to deal with Lakel's going for a wraparound onto the Magnus, but skewered back. They have an Omni Slash, but can they get it off? The skewer actually gets him up to the high ground, so we can buy a little bit of space with that Gust, running pretty quickly, but maybe not fast enough to buy himself the space. Supernova is at the ready and is going to be committed, but that's Phoenix giving up his life. Oh, shot in. Can they actually save the Supernova? No. Okay, a little bit fight for nothing. That's just a little too much hero damage there to get that, and they'll also lose the Clockwork. Double kill for the Lina. As United We Stand get thrown a freebie.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was, and they didn't even invest the Finger of Death there. They've still got the RP. They could look to fight again. They could push this Tier 1 mid and still fight quite handily. Or maybe step back, farm, be ready to react to the next engagement, considering it seems to be, you know, We Stand style to, okay, we're just going to react to the enemy's fights. We've seen many mass TPs, we've seen many reactions from them, but they don't seem to be one to start the fight themselves.
No, not for the most part. If that hookshot was able to bail out the Supernova, it could have been a completely different exchange, excuse me, but really, Sig.Trust are going to lose a little bit of momentum in that last exchange, but even with it, MyPro is still farming very quickly, as SFs usually do, into the BKB next. Even with these very defensive items, as we've already kind of pointed out, he's doing more than enough damage to make up for that fact, but now smoked up, United We Stand are going to look for an invasion of the enemy woods. If they could catch out Lakel's, that could be huge, but for the time being, Lakel's is going to keep himself safe. I'm pretty sure this high ground ward spotted out the smoke, or at the very least, the rotation.
Well, here we go, looking for the kill on MyPro. They're going to just go straight on him, commit the Omni Slash and the Finger of Death. That's a good kill, but now, where's the response? Jap taking quite a bit of damage. Clockwork rockets do fly in as well. That's 1 kill, 2 kills for Jap. Can they get the kill on Revival as well? I don't think they can. I think he's going to be well enough safe in a way. The Thunder God's Wrath does get commit and does a little bit of damage across the board, but that's going to be a 2 for 2 at the end of the day.
almost dead even. Slight experience advantage for United We Stand since the Shadow Fiend was a very high level hero, but they have to commit so much for it. Pretty much everything but the RP was spent for that kill, and then trading 2 for it. Sig.Trust are going to feel a lot more comfortable if Roshan was up to take it, but no, that's still miles away. It feels like this game has been lasting longer than just 16 minutes. But even so, Tier 1 tower down towards bottom should be a pretty easy prize for them to take. That's going to maybe tip the scales slightly into their favor, but really that's almost dead even. The amount of damage and damage that was mitigated by the Phoenix's Fire Spirits was immense.
Yeah, that kind of attack speed slow with Fire Spirits is absolutely insane, and Jap could actually be in a lot of trouble here, although that Invisron's going to prolong his life for a few seconds. It's so hard to see Invis on a Phoenix at times.
Yeah, Phoenix and Io, there's just a couple of heroes that really have these awkward Invis models. The ones with a lot of particle effects. The item, oh, excuse me, hold that thought as we have a hook shot in over towards the sidelines, isolating the Lion. 1, 2, 3 shots from the Drow is all that they need. Supernova's getting focused a little bit, but not near enough with the spin. Juggernaut can't actually damage that. They'll force staff him away, but still stunned up. He's going to be able to buy himself some space. Just 1 kill for Sig.Trust as they'll mop up the Tier 1 tower after the fact, and a free Lion kill too. My goodness, the damage that they're pumping out is crazy. With the Mimas Armor from the Venge as well as the Shadow Fiend, you're getting close to 2-shot territory on these supports.
Yeah, it's the nice thing about this combination. They're both at reasonably high levels as well, so between them that's negative 10 armor. Then you've got to consider how much extra damage from these auras is applied. Plus 94 near enough. Plus 67 total, I believe, actually, looking at Bumbel. But it's still a phenomenally large amount of damage and negative armor. This kind of thing is very hard to fight into, and I'm not sure United We Stand can contest this tier 2.
They have a Blink Dagger on their Magnus, and that might help. But the Tier 2 tower is already down below half HP, and with the positioning of the Shadow Fiend and Drow, the best they can hope for is one of them, and honestly, they need both. The Glimmer Cape going to be dropped on the Drow Ranger to cleanly disengage, and that does answer the question of the item progression on Phoenix. They find Alina in the sidelines, that's not where you want to be. Dominating spree for Lakells, my goodness, if they can isolate these heroes, they just melt like butter. United We Stand need to stand together, or they're not going to be standing long at all.
Yeah, this is the thing, though. Lakells on a Drow Ranger, it's a very comfortable hero for him. Then you've got my bro on his Shadow Fiend, the same applies. They've just picked a lineup that they know in and out, and it still works in this patch, no matter what.
Yeah, for the most part, Clockwork is going to be sending out his completed Blade Mail. That's the makings of a Yule Scepter potentially for the Phoenix, but I mean at the moment Jap is pretty much in a situation to where he could go for most anything that offers utility for the team. Maybe it's a Scythe, but I don't think he's getting enough income to back up that. It's a very expensive courier at the very least. Looks like Drow Ranger is going to be on his way towards a BKB instead of finishing up the S and Y, which I think is a wise choice, even though they are doing very well in these fights. If he gets caught out, the Laguna Blade and Finger of Death combination would be very easily bursting down the Kells, so that magic community is very important.
While I'm inclined to agree, I'm looking at the levels of the heroes right now. That's a level 13 Drow. Hell, level 13 on the majority of the heroes for Sig.Trust. They've got most of their level 2 ults. Whereas on the flip side of the coin, for United We Stand, they're lacking in levels, and it's starting to show. Yeah, specifically on their support.
Yeah, definitely so. 8 and 8 on the Lion and Lina, and their gold income is also pretty much gimped. Although you'd love to get a Blink Dagger of 4 WJ, it's only about halfway there, 20 minutes in, and at his current rate of farm, it's going to be like 30 or 40 minutes till he gets that item up and running. And Aghanim Scepter is a dream for Lina. BKB is, for the most part, going to negate the majority of the damage coming out from everybody but the Juggernaut, who is dishing quite a bit of physical. Tier 2 tower and top is going to end up falling a trade for the Tier 1 tower and bottom, and unless United We Stand come back here now, they're going to lose yet another Tier 2. Sig.Trust are more than comfortable continuing.
This is the thing, the Sig.Trust lineup just has that longevity in terms of its pushing power. It's all physical damage, they don't need anything else. And the harassment that they're taking in response is just mitigated by the mechanism. Unless we see a full commit from United We Stand, Sig.Trust are just going to walk all over these towers.
Yeah, Tier 1 tower and bottom traded for 2 Tier 2s. In fact, all of the Tier 2s on the side of United We Stand stand no longer. They get a Clockwork down towards bottom lane, I suppose, is a small consolation prize, but it is a very small consolation prize, especially now that Phoenix has level 11. These levels for Sig.Trust are going to make fighting into them so very difficult. In pretty much all of these exchanges, Phoenix's Supernova is untouched, even though Lina, in theory, can do quite a bit of damage to the Supernova, not with no points into the Fiery Soul, since she is so under-leveled as a support, and really the only one they have is Juggernaut, and he's so very easy to CC down. He's not very survivable on the front lines. He's gone for a very glass cannon-y build.
Well, glass cannon, while it has its uses, I don't think that's the right choice in this game. But the invisible rune now for WJ is going to buy him that little bit of time so he can look good for a good engagement, certainly. But my worry here is they walk right over this sentry, and they know about the Lion, turn around and fight, maybe stun onto a WJ. RP does go through, catches Lakelz and Boombell, and now you've got Matson just chewing through everyone, doing all the damage he can, but he's losing the right-click war versus Lakelz. Lakelz is just unstoppable in this game. He's going to go for another. This could be easily a triple. One arrow, cleans it up, triple kill for Lakelz, wicked 6 spree. What more can you want? And in the backlines, you still have the Lina going down to my pro.
Who needs the marksmanship bonus? Fighting 1v1 versus the Juggernaut, he cleaned him up. The physical damage just wasn't there, and magic neither. With the BKB activated as well as a Glimmer Cape popped onto Lakelz, he took like nothing from United We Stand. Even fighting up against the Juggernaut hardly dropped below 2/3 of his HP, and now Roshan immediately after the fact can be mopped up. Even without the Vengeful Spirit's additional minus armor, Roshan's going to melt. A secondary life for either Lakelz or for MyPro, no matter who they put it on. It looks like it's the Dro. They're going to just be doing so much inside these fights. This game is very quickly coming out of the hands of United We Stand, up to a 14,000 net worth lead for Sig.Trust, and upwards of a 10,000 experience lead too. And, well, the Lion ends up dying to the Phoenix inside the base. I wasn't watching that, but Jab is going to find a solo kill.
Yeah, Jap has been doing quite a bit in this game, and I've got to say, the Glimmer Cape pickup by Jap has been absolutely perfect. It's probably, out of the new items, the most underrated one in terms of its visibility. It is surprisingly strong.
Yeah, even after the 130 mana cost edition, it's still just so very good. Now the Phoenix has Yules, it can actually sustain its usage pretty well. Before they added that mana cost, I think the item was completely broken, and now against lineups like United We Stand that do rely on their magic nuke, it's incredibly, very potent. And I think it was a good choice, maybe better than the Midas I suggested. Probably better.
Yeah, I think the Midas would have been a bit of a fool's run errand in this one, considering how powerful Glimmer Cape is. The 66% magic reduction. I mean, look at the lineup of United We Stand. Cloaks, pipes is what you would go for in 6.83. Now Lakelz gets that Glimmer Cape, and he's unkillable.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, and
yeah.
Now they can go for a high ground push. They have the double life on their Dro. Tier 3 tower is only at 260 HP now, and a quick double raise. Tier 3 tower at the very least is gone, and probably barracks soon after. They need a Dream RP. They need that major combo with the empowered Omni Slash, but with the way that Sig.Trust are positioned, Lakelz is the only one there. They'll force staff him forward and drop it down to about half with the Mask of Madness activated. But he still has a Mantis style, and they find Lina up towards the north. She's going to survive for a little bit longer, but not now that the Phoenix catches his wings onto her with a little bit of Fire Spirit's damage. That's all she rode. Melee Barracks has since fallen, and Sig.Trust can just switch and do the same thing in another lane. They really committed nothing for it.
Yeah, I'll completely agree on that one. And looking at the items coming up for Sig.Trust, we do have a pipe on its way as well, so that's going to mitigate the majority of United We Stand's damage.
Yeah, and Pipe for the Clockwork's a great pickup for them. They are going to have to fall back and deal with bottom and top lanes. Will they lose somebody on the retreat? However, Boombell is there, as is the Phoenix, but it looks like the answer is no. United We Stand don't get anything in return, and in fact, take a disadvantageous kill score as well. Lakelz, still sitting on that double life, is getting closer and closer towards a really big agility item, and if he had a Butterfly, I think he's actually just unkillable.
I think Butterfly is the option as well here, and especially considering the cost reductions on the Eagle Song, on the Reaver. It's the right item in this game, I believe.
It is going to be quite potent, and even if he doesn't go for it, Lakelz is leaps and bounds ahead of where the Juggernaut is. Even if he goes for a Dagon, he's still going to have such a significant advantage, and his items already, as we saw in the man fight down towards bottom. Don't get me wrong, Dagon's a terrible choice, but it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay, now Glimmer Cape thrown on Lakelz again. They're just going to go and just power through this tier 3 on the bottom lane. Hook shot in from the side. Lifeless gets caught. Skewer back onto the Clockwork. Going to buy some time here, but trading into that Blade Mail Clockwork is not a wise idea. Now they're going to try to chew through the Supernova, but that's not going to be the easiest thing. Everyone's going to have to back up, and MyPro is just chewing through this entire lineup. Omni Slash drop, it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. In fact, Requiem to kill him. There's just nothing that United We Stand can really do against this one. Hell, RP may be, however, buy some time. Can we get another lightning bolt coming out of Didera? Yes, we can. Down goes the Magnus in response, though, and now we get the death of the Shadow Fiend finally. But, well, the solar beam within the fountain almost kills Didera, but there's the Thunder God's Wrath. Didera gets the double kill, but while all this is going on, Lekels and Boombell will just shred the racks.
Yeah,
hell, they're going to rotate. Go for the tier 3, the final one.
Yeah, this should just be megas for them. Although the Zeus is going to try his darndest, there's still an Aegis and BKB for Lekels. Just look at the damage! Healed up by the sun right now. Lekels can freely take this tier 3. I must say, that Requiem was immaculate by the Shadow Fiend. As soon as the Omni Slash came out, right in the middle of it, who needs Evil Scepter to set that combo when the Juggernaut does it for you? Even with that, even with Alina coming in from the sidelines, it doesn't matter. They're going to lose the Alina, and that's going to be megas and probably game.
Yeah, it seems like we were right with our bets on this one. Sig.Trust apparently had this one in the bag.
Well, they're going to pop BKB on Lekels, but look at the Juggernaut. They just can't fight up against the Dro. Lekels is on like a third of his HP. He doesn't care. They'll swap back to Magnus, and that is going to be a good game called out. And it was a very impressive game coming out from Sig.Trust. There were times, especially in the early game, where it looked really close for United We Stand, but once Sig.Trust got the ball rolling, there was no stopping it. So that's going to be the end of the first series that me and Blakadder are going to be casting here on the MPGL Season 7 Finals. Next up, we're going to have RRQ versus Ideal, so that'll be up on stream at an unknown time. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on with this schedule, so thanks for watching. We'll be back here probably in about 30 to 45 minutes.